when we say young men are killing themselves at 3 times the rate as young women, we use terms like accountability or say things, well, if they just opened up more about their emotions or they need to get their act together. And that is, we've decided when it comes to men, compassion is a zero-sum game. And that if you feel bad for men, it immediately kind of outs you as someone who might be anti-women or who's gone red pill.
Damn. That was deep. And it's a very sad reality that we found ourselves in whenever, especially for women, whenever they show any empathy for men, any love, any admiration, any recognition, any even sympathy, you get labeled, red pill, pick me, tradcon, all these bad connotation words. It's just bad. And that is the reality that we see ourselves in. Because when it comes to men, we are not supposed to have emotions. We are not supposed to react to anything. It's just take it like a man. And anytime anyone shows any kind of concern, especially and you're a woman, that means you're anti-woman. If you like men, how dare you like a man? You got to be anti-woman. You got to hate yourself. You got to hate your mom. You got to hate feminism. Don't even get me started with feminism. Anyway, let's continue.
Do you believe it's cruel to put men down for being lonely?
Yes. Yes and no, depending on their situation. I would say, men, if they're lonely, everyone has someone out there, but it's cruel. You can be lonely at different stages of your life. It depends, if you're going through things or not, but
I absolutely think it's cruel to put men down for being lonely, because some guys are just very headstrong. They focus on their work, their business, and they just focus on getting ahead in life. Some men are focused on women. Some men are focused on money. It's just, you have to find that man and what draws him, what attracts him, what is his goals. Maybe he's lonely for this. Maybe he's lonely for this reason. Maybe he's been heartbroken. Maybe there's been some things in his life. You never judge a book by its cover.
I don't think incels or simps are a threat to other people. They more just want somebody to connect to, somebody to bond with, somebody to have some type of relationship with.
Are lonely men more likely to commit violence or commit suicide?
I think lonely men are more likely to commit suicide, just because I know a lot of men have good hearts, and instead of taking their anger or their sadness out on other people, they rather take themselves out of the world, which is very bad.
for me, I would say suicide, just because with men, there's the high numbers in suicide. So
Sadly, from experience, more lonely men are more so to commit violence than they are suicide, because yes, you're lonely. You can always pay for companionship. You can always ask for companionship. It may not be what you want, but somebody can still be there. As opposed to the violent part, you can just take it at any chance.
Would married men in sexless marriages be considered incels?
Honestly, I would consider it, yeah.
Sometimes when I look at when I look at married men, is really bad. Sometimes I don't even know whether it's worth it to be married. You look at, because the one thing that men look forward to is having sexual experiences with their wife. Especially frequently. But when people get married, the sex just disappears. When they date in the dating phase, the sex is great. It's all about sex. But as soon as you get married, especially have children, the sex just dissipates. And the man will have to, and then the man should deal with it. The man is expected to deal with it because, you have a child, you can't be asking your wife for sex. Men, we are being put in a very, 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 very uncomfortable position. A very, very, and it's very, very, like, you damned if you do, you damned it. Because if you say, okay, you're not giving me sex, let me go somewhere else to get it, you're a jerk. Let me ask my wife for sex, you're a jerk. You can't say that she's taking care of your baby. So we are just supposed to keep it in our pants and just, man, I feel sorry for some guys. Like, I've seen guys in my real life, like, that they are starved of affection. They are starved of of physical touch. Their wife don't even look at them anymore. It's sad. It's very sad. It's very sad. But you don't know all this until you get married, because when you're dating, of course, the sex is phenomenal. When you're in the courting phase, the sex is phenomenal. But as soon as you give her your last name, especially when she has kids, when the kids come, it's dead. Is it supposed to be that way? I don't know. It's not even what am I saying? It's not supposed to be that way. It's not supposed, I mean, but society is kind of shoving it down men's throat that, yeah, as soon as the children comes, you're just supposed to keep it in your pants and don't go anywhere. Don't look at any other woman, don't go talk to any other woman, just keep it in your pants and deal with it. Deal with your sexual urges, deal with it. And it's kind of sad. It's really sad, which makes you think, is marriage even worth it anymore? Is it? I'm asking, is it? Because the way it's going, I don't know.
You guys should have an understanding, and sex is a part of that partnership, and it's a part of that deal. If I'm going to be completely honest, you have to satisfy every urge.
So then why are we more concerned about incels as a threat to others as opposed to a threat to themselves?
That's a very good question, and I don't know if I have an answer for that.
I think getting rejected turns into hatred towards women, which can be very scary. If you're obviously you're trying to be with someone and you are constantly rejected, I think it can really beat someone down, turning to violence eventually.
Would married men in sexless marriages be considered incels?
I would say no. I find a lot of the time in marriages such as that, men will go elsewhere outside of their marriage for sex if they can't get it within their own.
Can you be a strong man or woman and still be a victim?
Oh, most definitely.
Why do we always blame the victim when it's a man, but not when it's a woman?
Because we feel women should be more dainty. We feel women should have more of just a motherly love and a strength that just keeps them going, as opposed to men. They're automatically supposed to be strong. There's no weakness. There's no crying. There's no feelings, no emotion. Stay strong and do what you have to do. Stop whining.
We come from staying home, always taking care of the children. Men are out, men are having fun. And then kind of, women have always kind of been pushed to the side. So I think it's definitely, I think it needs to change. But it's definitely easier to blame the man because you just don't put women in that perspective that they're going to be an abuser. But they definitely can be.
If men can never be seen as victims, doesn't that actually make them the biggest victims?
It actually does. That's crazy. I never thought of it like that. They are one of the biggest victims if you're honestly thinking about it.
Why do people act like women are so empathetic if women don't have any empathy for men as victims?
Because some women don't understand why some men can be like that. And some women do have empathy, but some of them don't. They only have the empathy to the point where they want to feel something, or they want to make them feel something to the point where, okay, I made them feel good. Now I can get what I want out of it.
A lot of women are manipulative, and I'm not just gonna say as women. A lot of people are manipulative, but I think there are a lot of evil people that like to do false victimize themselves for attention or money or whatever the case may be. But with men, we don't really speak up as much as we should when we're victimized. So
if a man gets destroyed in divorce, we say he picked the wrong woman. If a woman becomes a single mom, do we say she picked the wrong man?
Absolutely not.
We don't. I've worked in family law, and that's a tough situation. I think depending with the courts and everything, it's very, I don't know how to word that.
Man, this video is really making me sad. Yeah, I think men are the biggest victim, in society, but I don't think men should use that as an excuse to actually, not help themselves out of a situation, or use that like a barrier to say, okay, this is why I'm not successful, this is why I'm not doing XYZ. I don't think men should use that as a crutch. Yes, are we being victimized? Yes. Do people not give a shit? Yes. People are not empathetic, especially if you're a man and you're being victimized or being hurt. Yes, even in the court system, like that lady, she said that she worked in the court system, so she sees these things, but she knows the answer when she was asked, you know, men victims. She knew the answer, but she was trying to word it in a way that wouldn't seem like men are the bigger victims. She knows the hypocrisy when it comes to single mom. They cheer single motherhood. They cheer women when they divorce men, when they take men for all they've got. They take the money, the house, the children, the properties. They take them and they cheer women for that. But for the men, who gives a shit? But I don't think that this should, give men the excuse to actually be down as a man. Life will knock you down. Life will always knock you down, and life will always find a way to knock you down and keep you down. But don't try to let that hinder you. Don't try to let that stop you. Don't try to let that keep you down. Don't try to let it. Society don't give a shit about you as a man. Yes, acknowledge that, embrace it, and keep it moving. Keep it moving. And don't use that as an excuse. Men that do use it as an excuse, I think they are part of a bigger problem. If you need help, psychological help, seek help. Seek help from people that you know. Seek help from people that are willing to help you. Your mates, your friends, if you have some, your family. Lean on people. Don't be afraid or don't be embarrassed or ashamed to ask for help. Always ask for help if you need more. Always, both financially, psychologically, mentally, if you need help in any which way as a man. Because if you don't ask, nobody would know. If you don't ask, nobody can know. How would they know what's going on in here? So, yeah, man, we should really, really step it up. We should really acknowledge what is happening in society, but don't let that stop us or keep us down. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. It's a really sad video, but that's all I got. If you like this video, please hit that like button, hit the share button, leave your comments down below. I always love to read them, and if you may, please subscribe. You have a good night.